Hello and welcome to ARC from IK Multimedia. ARC stands for Advanced Room Correction and is a very clever and pertinent product considering where we are in terms of recording and mixing these days. As we all know, the vast amount of mixing in today's world occurs in home studios or lower-end professional and semi-professional studios that may have less than high-end acoustics and/or dimensions. A partial solution for the home studio may be acoustic treatment, but it's not always a complete solution. For a start, it's a more complicated process than just throwing a bunch of absorbers and diffusers around the place. If your room is a basic box with parallel surfaces, you're behind the eight ball to start with. Knowing exactly what to do and how to do it, regardless of cost, can be beyond the average home studio user. And to really do it properly, you need to get an acoustician who will do an analysis and then specifically target all the problem areas with various treatments. By this stage, we are talking about an expensive proposition, so by all means, as a first attack, treat your room to the best of your ability and budget. The great thing about ARC is that it will take what you've done so far and significantly improve upon it again. Now, just as a quick aside, an alternative consideration for fixing room problems is to stick an ordinary EQ in your monitoring path, maybe a big graphic EQ. Presumably this entails sitting in your exact monitoring position and buzzing out tones at different frequencies, trying to level things up. Now, just to be clear, in case you're thinking this is not what ARC does, because there's a number of things wrong with this approach immediately. Firstly, it's only dealing with the main listening position, which generally leads to making other positions in the room sound worse. But worse still, it's adding phase distortions into the sound. Considering that the uneven acoustics in the room are already plagued with phase issues, creating even more with an EQ over everything actually seems counterintuitive. So enter ARC, which is actually a collaboration between IK Multimedia and Odyssey Laboratories. Together, the ARC system solves the problem of distortions caused by room acoustics, as well as the obvious EQ issues. It improves the sound throughout the whole room and not just at the sweet spot. It does this by taking measurements throughout the room and then combines the information to create a global solution which corrects frequency and time problems in one swoop. The advantages should be immediate and dramatic. The most obvious and beneficial will be mix translation. You now just need to mix it as you hear it and not second guess the bottom end or the high mids, and you should find that your mixes play back more reliably as you intend them to on other systems. And that's all we can ask for in a correction product. ARC comes with three components. First, the ARC measurement microphone, which is a professional calibrated measurement microphone. It's actually a very flat sounding Omni mic that you can continue to use within your own mic locker once you've finished with your measurements. Second is the ARC measurement software, which we only use in the setting up stage with the mic to take our measurements. And of course, third is the ARC plugin itself, which is our everyday tool in deploying the system. Now, the ARC system itself supports virtually all current digital audio workstation formats. The normal version does VST, RTAS and AU on both Mac and Windows. AU, of course, is Mac only. And then there's a slightly more expensive version that adds TDM support for Pro Tools systems on both Mac and Windows. There has been some discussion online where people have questioned the possibility of using other mics, maybe even some fancier measurement mics, down to just ordinary everyday studio mics. The simple answer is no. The system has been calibrated specifically for the mic that comes in the box and that mic only. In fact, IK Multimedia have changed the mic that came with the early versions of the package, so now when we first start up the measurement process, we'll see later on that we're actually required to choose which mic came with our package. So now, just to add some editorial and partial summary to this introductory session, ARC is not some magic bullet that will take your $150 computer speakers in your boxy home study and give you a perfect flat response. Secondly, it's not an alternative to treating your room with the smartest and fanciest treatments you can afford. But it is a very useful supplement to add onto whatever monitoring situation you currently find yourself in. It will improve your $150 computer speakers in your bad room if you want to go that way, but the better the monitoring you start with, the better end result you will get with ARC. And already reasonable quality rooms that require just small amounts of nip and tuck can render really great results. The main benefit you will get will be a more consistent frequency response across the entire range. With most of the ugly bumps or troughs dealt with, you can be left to trust what you're hearing more, and in doing so will be rewarded with mixes that will translate more consistently across more systems. Mixes will just come together faster as well because you won't be getting drawn into the room defects. The most prolific example of this would be an uneven bottom end, where you have bass notes that are all at different volumes and you just can't work out what you're doing with low-end EQ. Every time you sweep EQ down there on an instrument, things jump out. but you don't know if they're jumping out because the sound needs correction or if they're jumping out because the room is all ringy down there. Arc will tighten all that stuff up so you can EQ to actually deal with the recording and nothing else. Now next up, we're going to dive into the measurement phase of Arc and get ourselves set up.